Welcome to the Hank Cisco Show, ladies and gentlemen. Don't touch that remote. I got a judge as my guest. And you know what a judge is? A judge stands there and listens to all the evidence and then decides what's right. I guess that's about the easiest way to put it across. And being the former police officer in district work as a county detective, I had the, opportunity to meet a lot of district justices, and they all had a different style. So I'm very proud to say that this judge I've known since, I guess, he was in school, because I remember he used to come to council meetings, and every time you turn around, he was involved somehow with people. And I think a good judge is a person that mingles with people, to be able to 90% listening and 10% talking, and you get it done right. And you will make a lot more friends that way. And I think a judge is like a friend, because he's there to make a decision, whether it goes one way or the other. It's the way it should be. So, I want you to meet Honorable, I like that, Honorable, Gregory, but they call you Greg. L. What's L stand for?
It's my middle name.
What is it?
It's my middle name.
That's your middle name. Well, beautiful. All right, and Scott.
That's right.
All right, welcome to the Hank Cisco Show.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here,
I'm
Rob.
really happy you are a district judge, magistrate district judge. You, ladies and gentlemen, he's the youngest judge in the whole state of Pennsylvania. Now, that's quite an honor. And where were you born?
Right here in Norristown.
Right on.
Born and raised in
on
Norristown.
to victory, fighting as we go. Right. That was the thing. All right, now, tell me something about yourself. How did this all come about? How did
It's
you
a
were
very good
always
question.
involved with the council, law, the order?
Yeah,
Tell me.
so I've been involved in public service, for a long time, as you know. I started out, I think a lot of people would say, the start of my professional public service career, if you will, started when I wrote a letter to President Clinton when I was 11. But I think I've been caring about people since I came out of the womb. If you hear stories when I was growing up, apparently I always went around taking notes, but I always wanted to make sure that people were taken care of. And I think that's just been a hallmark of my personal and my professional career, is helping people out. So whether it was being an EMT or running as a firefighter in the Norristown Fire Department,
right.
or working for...
Well, you worked with the senator, too, didn't you?
That's right. I worked for a guy named Joe Sestak, the Admiral.
Yeah.
And
I remember you came to the Columbus Monument with him.
Yeah, he's a good guy, Admiral Sestak. In fact, he and I just had a conversation last night. Worked for him about 4 years, worked in D.C., and worked in his district office here in media as well. Is he running again? He just ran for Senate this last go-round last year, and unfortunately he did not come, he was not successful in the primary. He was beat in the Democratic primary, and then Senator Toomey won in the general. So now Senator Toomey is our senator.
Well, now, what school did you go to?
Sure, absolutely. So first I want to start off here. I started off at Cole Manor. I went there for kindergarten.
That was your elementary school?
Yeah, that was
Cole
my
Manor?
elementary school. At that time, we had a principal by the name of Miss Harris, Sheila Harris.
Who?
Sheila Harris. She was our principal, and my kindergarten teacher was Miss Costanzo. And then I went off to Gottwalls, where Mr. Glover was the principal.
Who?
Carl Glover was the principal.
Glover?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, I know him.
Yep. And
he used to be over at Hancock.
Yeah, yep. And Miss Freeman was my first and second grade teacher. She's now at Marshall Street Elementary School.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, and I went to Eisenhower Middle School for middle school. And then I graduated from Renaissance, and then I went to, I started off at small liberal arts college in New Hampshire called Franklin Pierce College, and transferred to Chestnut Hill College when I got a job at Channel 10, and graduated from Chestnut Hill in 2000.
But in the meantime, when you were going to school, you were still getting involved with politics, helping out and working out, right?
Yeah, I was involved. So I was their junior councilman. I think I was in high school then. I don't remember. I think I was in high school. I think I was 16. Yeah.
Who you waving to?
If if I took all the credit, it would be completely.
Well, tell me
a shame.
who
I
helped
have
you.
a team of
Tell me
people
who helped
that have
you.
helped me from day one. Obviously starting with my mom. My mom grew up in a single family home. My mom, Peggy Scott, has been there from day one, making sure that the homework got done and all the good things. Every time I was bad, she beat me and all those types of things. It's not child abuse. Today it would be child abuse. Back then it was just a parent taking care of their child. Then I've got a good guy named James Daly who's been on my team since day one. He helps me out, keeping everything together, making sure the schedule's right. I've got Rochelle Colbreth, Linda Christian, Netta Hughes. I've got Joanne Zioli, who's my assistant. She's great. Gwen, Dawn, and Danielle on my staff too. So all those people make my life go.
Well, the biggest is Rochelle.
Yeah, I don't even call them my staff. I call them my coworkers because without them I can't do it.
Your coworkers.
My coworkers.
Well, it's good that you appreciate the people that help you.
Yeah.
People that you start helping people. People help you, and you help them.
Yeah.
And you're in a position now to give back to the community.
I truly believe that. I mean, I think for me, this is just another way to give back to Norristown. Norristown has provided a platform for me, my community, to do some of the things that I've never done. I've traveled the world, Africa, Nicaragua, all types of places, and the culture and the experience that I have from Norristown truly shaped who I am today.
Yeah.
So this is a way for me to give back to a town that has given me so much. As you remarked, I mean, I was a junior council person. All the things that I was able to do because I lived in this great town called Norristown. Now I have an opportunity to give back to our community. And this, I think, my job as a magisterial district judge, the reason I enjoy it so much is because every day I see tangible effects. I have tangible impact on individuals' lives every single day that I go to work.
I think you're in a position to make some changes. You don't change them yourself, but what you witnessed and the advice you give to other people with the power or the power or whatever to do the things. So that's very important,
Yeah, the power of the pen is an incredible thing. I tell people, young people especially, all the time, with this pen and my signature, I can either send you to jail or I can let you out of jail.
Right,
And that's an incredible power, and I take that very seriously. I mean, one of the things that we've done, just last night I was celebrating with our new president judge, Del Ritchie, along with our administrative judge, Judge O'Neill. Our drug court got accredited last night.
Judge O'Neill and Corey, I remember him when he was in the DA's office.
Yeah.
I was a county detective.
He's come a long way. Now he's one of the leaders on the bench, and Supreme Court Justice Kevin Doherty came to deliver our drug court program accreditation.
That's what O'Neill's in charge of, right?
Yep, he's the administrative judge of our criminal court.
Yeah, and I think it was Judge Smythe was in charge of something. Somebody had some mental problems,
That's right. We have 3 treatment courts in Montgomery County, which is incredibly important, right? So what Montgomery County, with the leadership of our president judge and our county commissioners, we said, people with drug addiction problems, that we need to be treating them, not necessarily incarceration. Incarceration is not going to fix the bottom line of what's happened. So we've got the county commissioners, we've got the president judge, and the judges that have bought into this program, and now we have the drug court. We have mental health court, which is incredibly important. Those are people who have mental health issues, depression, anxiety, PTSD, all types of bipolar disorder, and instead of incarcerating them for certain crimes or occurrences or offenses that they commit, we're treating them. We're making sure that they're getting the appropriate treatment. One of our key courts that I'm really proud of is our Veterans Court, which is open to all veterans. The only requirement simply is that you be a veteran and that your crime, there's certain, obviously, offenses that aren't tolerated in the court, and all of them, obviously, you're not allowed, if you committed murder, to be a participant in those courts. But these treatment courts are incredibly important, and we're leading the way in Montgomery County by saying, you know what, incarceration, locking people up and throwing away the key isn't necessarily always a solution. Let's make sure that there's not an underlying problem here.
You got that right, and I don't know how, something the way you were just saying, that just like a policeman has to make an investigation. Now, when I was head of the juvenile division, we had this kid that was hooking school, Stewart Junior High School. At that time, if you, so many days of, you would hooky, you could sign a petition, juvenile court.
Yeah. So we have truancy court now, and my colleague, Judge Marge Hunsicker, she's our truancy judge for the school district.
See, that's, yeah.
And Judge Hunsicker does an incredibly great job with that. In fact, a lot of her truancy court takes place on a Monday evening.
Find out why they're hooking.
Yeah.
Find out why they're hooking. That's important.
She does that. Judge Hunsicker has been on the bench before I have, but just like myself, the core of what we do, the core of what drives us, what wakes us up every morning is how can we do the most good for the most good? And we can't do the most good if we're not finding out the root cause.
Well, when I say find out why they do certain things, this kid, student at Stewart Junior High School, would hook his school every Tuesday. And finally, it accumulated so many Tuesdays that they signed a petition. Mm-hmm. They signed a petition to get to go juvenile court. They called me. I had to take them up to Montgomery Hall. Now, thank God that I had a good relationship with the people in the Montgomery Hall. I get a call. Hey, Cisco, this kid that you just brought up here, he says, he won't obey the commands and what we asked him to do. He says, will you come up and talk to him? He seems like a nice kid. Okay, I went up. And here, when you go to Montgomery Hall, you got to take all your clothes off and they give you pajamas or something to wear. Well, he would not take his shirt off. He would not take his clothes off. And here, so I took him to the side. I said, look, you have to take your clothes off. They get put the other clothes on. And what it was, that he had enlarged breasts. And every Tuesday they had gym. And every time he'd go in there, everybody would make fun of him. Oh, look at the boob. So he would hook his school. And this kid wasn't bad. He didn't want to do anything bad. But thank God I was able to do that. And we worked out with the school. And Dr. Scott was the psychologist or something, whatever. But there are cases there. I had another case where the mother brought the kid in and says, he won't listen to me. And I want to send a petition, take him, Wait a minute. So I'm sitting there, and the kid's about this big in my office, and I says, Johnny, and she was with her boyfriend. It was a Friday night. She wanted to go out and get boozed up, I guess. And so I said, Johnny, why don't you do what your mom tells you to do? And the kid still looks at me. I says, Johnny, here, Johnny's deaf, completely deaf in this 1 year, and he went to St. Francis School. I says, no wonder he don't obey you. He can't hear you.
He can't hear you.
Now this kid's in school,
right.
And that teacher don't know that this kid's about what's he learning.
I think that's incredibly important, right? So one of the things that when I go out and people see me in the community, we are at some of the similar events, right? Some of the feedback that I get that lets me know that I'm doing an okay job is they say, you know what? I was in front of you and you were fair. You were respectful, but most importantly, you listened.
Yeah.
You listened, you were patient, and I appreciate that. So when I hear those types of words, listening, fair, respectful, those are words to me that say, you know what, you're doing a good job. Those are the things that I said I wanted to do when I embarked on this journey. And it's been a year. I've been on the bench for a year. I can't believe it. This week it's been a year. And I think that I'm succeeding at those things.
Yeah, but you talk to more people in one day. Some guy's talking in a year. Here's another. From the
balcony?
Here's another question from the audience.
All right, got it.
Read it out loud.
So what was your biggest surprise when you became judge? The biggest surprise for me was the amount of people that wanted to get married by me. I've done over 86 weddings this past year.
You call the marrying judge.
Yeah, I'm the wedding judge. So if you now on the social media, if you hashtag wedding judge, apparently there's pictures that come up of me. So and then I also have a new Facebook and Instagram and social media. All that is /GregScottPA. But on there, we'll put those up, and we have all the weddings of all the photos. I've done over 80 weddings this year, and that's really great. That's the biggest surprise for me is that I get a chance to do that.
Judge Lawrence, who he's in the same office for you until they make some changes. We'll talk about that.
Yes, sir.
But my friend, the Greco-Roman, Mario, his friends come from Greece, and I would call Judge, and he did it, So now, between the both of you, I think of the greatest thing that could happen, Well, Hunsicker, we're so fortunate to have 3 good judges here in Norristown.
That's right. So in Norristown, we added a 3rd judge this year, which created my seat. So we had Judge Hunsicker and Judge Lawrence had 14 and 15,000 cases respectively.
How they created this job? Tell me about that.
Right. So Judge Lawrence and Judge Hunsaker had 14,000 and 15,000 cases respectively. The average in the county was between 4,000 and 6,000. So a lot of people will look at that and they'll say, oh my God, Norristown's so bad, crime is so bad, all these things. Yeah. And that's not necessarily the case. We also have civil docket. So we have 7,000 rental units within the borough, and all landlord tenants, as a part of their breach of contract, had to come before a district court. And so we handle those claims as well. We also do search warrants. We do a variety of different things, all arraignments. So everyone that gets arrested within 72 hours will see a judge in Montgomery County. We handle all the preliminary hearings. So that's the first step in the criminal justice process. We weed out what goes to the big courthouse. Yeah. What charges should not sustain, go up because there's not enough evidence, or if this was a crime that was done that we could handle at the lower court, we definitely try and do that and handle the consequences
Settle it as much as possible.
Yep.
Right. Now, why did you run for district justice? Why didn't you go for council or some other thing, county job?
It's a great question. I think when this opened up for me, it was in a way that I could really provide the most impact for most people.
Okay.
And I think that when I looked at...
I like that.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead.
When I look at the ways that I can be impactful, I think that this was a one way that we could do it and provide the most impact. We've got young people who really need to understand what personal responsibility is, what work ethic is, and I think that them hearing it from me or hearing that type of judgment from me goes a long way. I think the other thing is I provide a different perspective to the bench, a bench that wasn't possibly as diverse. I mean, I'm the first African-American district judge in Montgomery County, and I think what that means is that I'm able to come to the table with a different lens, a different perspective, and I think that's incredibly helpful.
Well, I think we're very fortunate to have you and Lawrence and Hunsaker, very, very good. They listen to the people. All right.
So the next question we have
from the audience,
from the balcony, is what is the most important issue in Montgomery County today? I think one of the pressing issues that we have is the opioid crisis. If you go to moncopa.org/webcad at any given time, that shows all the calls for all of our EMS, all of the ambulances that are out throughout the county, as well as all the fire trucks that are dispatched. If you look at the EMS calls, you're guaranteed to probably find an overdose. If you spend about a half hour to an hour on that website, you'll see that there's an ambulance being dispatched somewhere in Montgomery County for a drug overdose. And I think that that's an issue that's incredibly pressing. Has the courts, like I told you yesterday, we accredited our drug court. This is the 11th year of the drug court that Judge O'Neill has been doing. Huge success. 70% of the people do not return or do not return after they complete that program. It's about 23 months. But we're really attacking this disease that comes in and kills people and destroys people. And it's getting worse and worse. With these new drugs and the painkillers and younger people. And this is a disease that crosses all socioeconomic. It doesn't care if you're black, white, Mexican, Puerto Rican, if you're rich, you're poor, whatever. There's people in Lower Marion, Coatesville, all over the county that are getting this. Well, Coatesville is not in the county, but you get what I'm saying.
It's a shame. Right. But let's talk about Norristown.
Love Norristown to death. One of the things that Norristown can be...
Something's wrong. I don't know. When I was a policeman, we had to live in Norristown. And I think that's one of the problems. Now, I respect police officers and everything, but I think that the police officer should live in the town. All right, you say, well, you can't Norristown, but at least live in East Norton, West Norton, Norristown, and help pay taxes. I don't know, but if you don't work in the town that you're protecting, your heart. You have to, if you don't live in town, at least have your heart in the town. But something's wrong because I don't know half of the policemen, and they don't get around. I used to go into the schools. I used to safety patrol, bicycle inspection, all that stuff. I made a contact, see. But, things are not that changed. There's less people in Norristown. There's less business in Norristown.
Right, so I think you bring up a very good point.
Like the do.
I think you bring up a very good point, and I think that that's a conversation that you could have with your city council people and the chief of police. What I will tell you is that for my job, I'm required to live in town, and I do. I proudly live in town. I own my own home.
Required to live in town?
Yeah, we're required to. And I live in town.
Well, that's good.
I own my own house. I'm not renting. I own my house, you know, and I have a vested interest. And I think that for me, not only is it required for my job, but I think it shows the community that I have a vested interest and that I plan on staying here and that I care about it. I can't speak to why the police officers don't. I do know that it was a requirement some years past, and they have changed that. And I do know that we do have some officers that live in town.
Very few.
I don't. Yeah,
I
I don't know the
any.
number, but I do know some offhand that do live in town. But you bring up a very good point.
Well, you know, one time Mike Grant was fighting, heavyweight fighter.
Okay.
So I was selling tickets. He was going to fight in New York. And the guy called. He said, "So I want to buy a couple tickets." That's okay. Come on. She said, "I'm a policeman in Norristown." "Oh yeah, where are you?" He said, "I'm up in Royersford." He said, "I'll come down." I said, "Okay." So he came into my house and that. Here now, I says, "How long you been a policeman in Norristown?" He said, 6 years. Yeah, he didn't even know me.
Oh wow.
Well,
You're
if
the
he reads
ambassador. How do
paper,
you not
if he-
know you?
I mean, you know, what is he looking at? Who's he talking to? You know, I don't, but, you know, I thought, well, I introduced myself. but I don't, all right, now I want to get down now. I'm a former policeman. I got blood in me. It's red, right?
I've got breaking news. There's a breaking news thing hanging on the bottom of the television. My blood is red too.
What?
My blood is red too.
All right. All right.
We must go to the same doctor. I think it's because we're from Norristown.
All right.
Now,
I think that burning the flag, intentionally burning the American flag, should be a hate crime. I think killing a police officer should be a hate crime. Now, why? None of these guys, cookies, will come out saying, well, we're going to start killing retired policemen because they caused the problem. And then they're going to start shooting at me. I think there's nothing wrong. I don't think when the hate crime law was put together, I don't think they didn't kill policemen like they kill today for a reason, for hate or whatever it may be. So I think that should be added there. And to see a guy, I mean, we go to school, the Pledge of Allegiance,
well, I want
the
to
flag,
say this.
it's going to be on my coffin when I die. And then they want to burn it, I'll punch them in the nose. Go ahead.
Well, obviously, you know,
Will you put them in jail?
I don't make the laws, and I don't want to talk about any pending cases that may come before me. However, I think that, you know, if you come into my new building, we're moving, the district, all 3 courts in Norristown are going to be consolidated in one building, 601 DeKalb Street in Norristown. So you'll be able to go to one stop to pay all your citations and fines, parking tickets, that type of thing. Judge Hunsicker, Judge Lawrence, and myself will be in one building, 601 DeKalb Street. But when you come into my courtroom, you'll see I have a big, beautiful American flag that hangs. I'm really proud of what the flag stands for, and I'm proud to be an American. Absolutely.
And you got a picture of the policeman, too. Is it still there?
I'm waiting for you to come. When are you going to come see it?
Why, you know, you are a good...
You have a standing
the
invitation.
cops like you.
I think everyone loves me, not just the police.
Not everybody loves you. No. You got some people don't like it. Same thing with me.
Generally, the people the people
I
that
learned
don't
from
like
my
me,
enemies. Judge,
yes, sir.
you had a big swearing in up at Harrisburg.
That's right.
Now the eyes tell you everything. Okay, tell me what happened.
Absolutely. So this past Tuesday, we started on January 3rd. The new General Assembly came into session. So the House, the Pennsylvania House of Representatives, as well as the Pennsylvania Senate, came into session, and they swore in all of their members. In the House, obviously, in Pennsylvania, we have 203, and in the Senate, we have 50. A part of that group is the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus, and Justice Doherty and Justice Sally Updike Mundy swore in the Senate, and then we had another judge swear in the House, and then I swore in the legislative leaders of the Pennsylvania Legislative Black Caucus, which is chaired by one of their youngest members, State Representative Jordan Harris, out of Philadelphia. He's a good friend of mine, and the vice chair was Donna Bullock, and we had Chris Rabb, who's a new member of the legislature, as well as Montgomery County Senator Art Haywood, who was also in leadership there, and he's the treasurer. So that was awesome. It was an awesome experience.
And you had the honor of swearing them in.
Drove all the way up to Harrisburg.
My
just
little
for
guy
that.
from Norristown, Pennsylvania.
It was awesome. It was a great experience, and it was great to be a part of history and to see that type of thing taking place.
The half hour's over.
Right.
Judge.
So just as a disclaimer, I don't bring the charges, right? The prosecution brings the charges.
You got 30 seconds. Come on, what are you going to
My
do
name
about
is Greg
Norristown?
Scott.
What are you looking forward to? Are you going to run for state senator?
I'm happy with my job. I love my job right now. I have a 6-year term. I got 4 more years
whatever
to go.
it is, I'm going to be behind you.
You got it. Thank you so much. You can feel free to get in touch with me on Instagram, Facebook, or Twitter at Greg Scott, PA, at any of those. And then also, my telephone number is 610-945-9156.
And you're going to have new offices at the corner of Marshall and
that's
DeKalb?
Right. Marshall and DeKalb. It's going to be at 601 DeKalb Street. You'll be able to reach Judge Lawrence, Judge Hunsicker, and myself there.
All in one building.
All
All right,
in one
ladies and
building.
gentlemen, thank you so much. And it's been a pleasure to see him grow up, and now I'm so proud of him, and he's doing so much, not only for Norristown, for the county, and he was up in Harrisburg swearing in some big wheels up there.
That's right.
So,
I did that too. I forgot
So,
about
ladies
that.
and gentlemen, thank you so much for allowing us to come in there and meeting the judge, the youngest judge in, well, we'll say United States until somebody hollers, and then I'll
You
straighten
heard it
them
here
out,
first
okay?
on the Hate
Same thing, I'm
Sisters.
the only ambassador in the United States. He's the youngest judge in the United States. If you don't believe it, you come to Norristown. I'll give you a balabanza. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, here we go.
Salud.
Salud.
Great.
Hey,
Congrats.
Gombadi. See what? Manjuni,
Manjuni,
the
when?
18th.
Yeah, I'll be there.
Okay, keep your trunks off the campus.
What about my thumb? My thumb. Keep my thumb in.
Keep the thumbs in.
Okay.
No, like this.
All right. All right.
That.
Good.
Square them in.
Got it. All right. I'm ready. I'm ready. Bam, bam, bam.
Bam, bam.
Got it. Thank you.